From the great state of Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I begin, I have a unanimous consent request.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article by Emma Bucher titled, Doge Musk Oversight of Federal Workforce Causing Frustration for FCI Thompson Staff.
Without objection.
I have another unanimous consent request.
Without objection.
You want me to read it, or?
Not really, but go ahead.
Can I text it to you later, or? All right, so unanimous consent requests, obviously. I'll give them to you, Mr. Chairman. I'll skip that. All right, let's begin on my time. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, you know, I appreciate this hearing, and it's always a pleasure to go after Chairman Jordan. And, you know, I've been listening to my colleagues talking about investment, personnel shortages. And, of course, we're talking about that in a time where Doge has its fingerprints over all the agencies, including your own. So at a time where we're talking about personnel shortages, we're actually firing people. We're convincing them to leave. We're retiring them, right? And don't get me wrong, like, you guys need more resources, right? You need more people. You got crumbling infrastructure, right? We need to be tough on crime, tough on criminals. I get all that. And there's definitely need to be serious reforms, right? This is a serious conversation. But, you know,
Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we need to talk about a video that's been making the rounds from none other than Congressman Jared Moskowitz, a Democrat from Florida, who went on this long, sarcastic, and frankly condescending rant about the idea of reopening Alcatraz. Yep, you heard me. Alcatraz. Now, I watched this whole thing, and let me tell you, the left is losing its mind. They're not even pretending to take law and order seriously anymore. So let's break this down, not with jokes and movie references, but with facts, logic, and some good old-fashioned common sense. So Moskowitz kicks off with his classic smirk, trying to get some laughs in the hearing room. Talks about watching Escape from Alcatraz, The Rock, and even throws in Elmo for some reason. I don't even know. But here's the thing, folks. This is not stand-up comedy. This is Congress. This is supposed to be serious work, and this man is up there doing a routine. He mocks the idea of reopening Alcatraz, calls it a rust box, says you need a tetanus shot to walk through it. Well, maybe, just maybe, instead of laughing about it, we should ask, why are people even floating this idea in the first place? What's broken in our justice system that's making people think we need a facility like that again? Now, here's the truth that Moskowitz completely avoids. Crime is spiraling in major cities. The liberal approach to justice, soft on crime prosecutors, no cash bail, early releases, catch and release policies, it's all failing. Americans are scared. Families don't feel safe. Businesses are locking up toothpaste because of constant theft.
I was listening to the ranking member, and she brought up something about Trump talking about Alcatraz. And of course, look, this is just another distraction to divert attention away from the tariffs or rising prices or the struggle on Main Street. But since we're having a hearing on prisons, it's lucky timing for me. So, 3 times more expensive than any prison to operate in 1959, Alcatraz was. Okay? It needs about $250 million to shore up the infrastructure and utilities. All food and water has to be barged in, sewage has to be barged out. The facility is almost 100 years old. And so I don't get it. In the days of Doge, where we're cutting budgets, we got to find savings. Now we're going to what? We're going to cut Medicaid and SNAP so that we can pour money into Alcatraz. First of all, have you been to Alcatraz recently? It literally is it's a rust box walking around. You need a tetanus shot just to go into the building. Do we still give tetanus shots, or has RFK gotten rid of those? I can't keep up. And so, listen, where did the president get this idea all of a sudden, right? Where did he get the idea? Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz, right? And I brought boards because some people are visual learners. Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz by Clint Eastwood. Actually, funny part about that, it was actually on television in South Florida. It was on PBS South Florida over the weekend when Trump was at Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he made his announcement just hours after it aired. You know PBS, the programming that he's trying to get rid of, so just in case you're keeping up, right? It's 2 dolls for girls and 0 Elmos, okay? But But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he was watching The Rock with Sean Connery. You know this one. This is where Sean Connery goes back to Alcatraz because he originally escaped Alcatraz and he needed like an expert on chemical weapons. Maybe the president was just Netflixing and chilling, like watching The Rock, which is not to be confused with The Rock, right? That's a different person. And then the president's really excited about these sharks, right? He's talking about all the sharks and the person escaped. He lost his clothing. So, sharks, they don't have laser beams on. They don't have laser beams, but maybe the sharks are going to be there. So this is just all ridiculous. But then all of a sudden after that, we heard like, oh, we're going to tariff the movies. Well, hold on a second. Why would we tariff the movies? This is where the president is getting his ideas from. We can't tariff the policy idea making of the presidency. And look, I know what my colleagues are going to say. They're going to say, Jared, just let the president cook. This is 4D chess he's playing. And I'm going to say, maybe he's just watching late night movies. Perhaps he's just watching late night movies. In fact, we're told he got this movie tariff idea from no other than Jon Voight, the guy who was in that great movie Anaconda. I don't know if you've seen that. And so this is the ridiculousness that's going on. So I want to end with this. Mr. Pearl, you run a faith-based organization, right? No? Oh, it's Mr.
No,
Wild,
sir,
you run the
Prison
faith-based
Fellowship.
organization. Sorry. You think it's a good idea to reopen Alcatraz? You think the faith-based community has been pounding the table to reopen Alcatraz?
Prison Fellowship stance is that prisons should be safe, effective, efficient, and uphold human dignity.
Okay, let me make it easier for you. All four of you, which one of you think we should reopen Alcatraz? Just raise your hand. Okay, so for my colleagues who sometimes, are a little slow, no one raised their hand. Okay, nobody, not a single witness. None of your witnesses here think we should reopen Alcatraz. And so, we have real problems in the prison system.
So when someone talks about reopening a prison like Alcatraz, it's not because we want to go backwards. It's because we need strong deterrence. We need facilities that send a message that if you commit serious violent crimes, there are serious high-security consequences. And for the record, Alcatraz is symbolic. It's not just a rusty island. It represents toughness on crime. It represents accountability, something the left abandoned long ago. Moskowitz sarcastically says, "Oh, are we going to cut Medicaid and SNAP to fund Alcatraz?" Let me ask him this. Where was this concern when Democrats spent billions on illegal immigration, on bloated bureaucracies, on sending money overseas to countries that hate us? Suddenly the left cares about budgeting when we're talking about securing our homeland? Come on. They can spend taxpayer money on gender studies programs in Pakistan, but God forbid we fund a prison that actually keeps the worst of the worst away from society. And maybe this is what frustrates me the most, the mockery of real American concerns. Moskowitz acts like anyone who's concerned about crime, border security, or the integrity of our justice system is some kind of joke. It's elitist. It's disconnected. Most Americans aren't sitting around watching late-night movies and dreaming up prison policies. But we are watching our cities fall apart. We are watching criminals get coddled while victims are ignored. And we are watching our leaders laugh in our faces when we ask them to do something about it. Let's be clear. No one is saying Alcatraz should be reopened tomorrow with no plan. But the discussion itself is worth having. Do we need a new high-security federal prison? Maybe. Do we need to reevaluate how we house the most dangerous criminals? Absolutely. Our prison system is overcrowded, underfunded, and in many ways broken. Not because we're too tough, but because we're too soft on real consequences. The idea that the only answer is reform and rehabilitation ignores the fact that some people cannot be reformed, and the public has a right to be protected from them. So, Mr. Moskowitz, if you're watching this, instead of turning a serious policy conversation into a late-night monologue, how about you answer this? What's your plan to stop rising violent crime? How do you protect law-abiding citizens when you constantly handcuff law enforcement? Why do you mock people who want real consequences for criminals? We don't need more comedy. We need courage. We need leaders who put public safety above party politics and punchlines. Look, folks, the left wants to distract you with jokes and Hollywood references, but the facts are the facts. Crime is rising. Our justice system is soft, and the American people are fed up. We need bold solutions. Maybe that means Alcatraz. Maybe it doesn't. But we deserve leaders who take these problems seriously.
It does need reform. It does need money. We can work on that together. But the president puts out Alcatraz as a distraction. Thank you.
The gentleman yields. I am going to yield to myself.
Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Every view means a lot. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment to let me know your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Your support keeps this channel going. Thank you, and bye for now.